How's everybody today? Let's do actually, no, I'm trying to experiment with more and more check-in formats these days because we do so many of these check-in meetings, it starts getting boring. Give me where is your energy level from I wish I was still asleep or somewhere else to like, this is the most exciting thing I could be doing in my life? Ruben, nice to see you. All right, cool. Thanks. So, we have a Miro for this, but we're a small group, so I will also screen share. Depending on how your meeting style is, feel free to enter or not. So, I want to start with a quick overview of Coherence and then really try and have this mostly as a conversational session. I will try and talk with you the least amount possible since I think all of you have a bit of an idea of where we are and what we're doing at. So at a high level, Coherence is AI and humans wiser together. I'm testing this tagline. So far have gotten some good responses to it. So it's a new format for gathering online. In general, whenever technology comes up, we do the same old shit, just with a bit of digital. My favorite example being, take this PDF, print it out, sign it, scan it, and email it back to me. Flow, which is slowly going away, but very slowly. And similarly, with the way we meet online and we gather online, it's been like, we know how to do a conference. One person listens, one person talks, everybody else listens. That's great, let's just do that. But that's clearly not taking the maximum use of the format. And now in the age of AI, I think getting everybody's voice into the conversation is can be much more exciting, participatorily fun, as well as being a much better way at building collective intelligence, given where AI is at. So the roadmap is we're going through the MVP now, with the goal of finishing the conversations at least until the end of June. Probably the AI stuff will take a bit longer than that. And from this, the goal is to start two startups. One is for producing the app, and the other one is for producing a big Coherence event in the fall around the topics of wise AI, conscious collaboration, building the software for the regenerative society economy OS. And then after that, there is this dream of building a venture family that builds the software for these things. But that's not Coherence will be part of that, the app startup at least. It's not part of the main roadmap. So the big Coherence event, I think this whole topic of how do we steward technology to build a society that we would like to see, not the Palantir dystopia, is becoming coming more and more to the forefront with AI and so on and so forth. So I think the potential for this event is really unlimited, right? If we are able to gather the team, the funds, and all of this, this could be something that we invite the top thinkers, politicians, UN, I've been already starting to practice my interview script if I get to interview Bill Gates. It's an interesting challenge. What questions would you ask a man who's been interviewed tens of thousands of times that the conversation would be interesting to him and generative? But maybe it doesn't need to be so big. It will depend on how big we dare to dream and how big we're able to execute. I think there needs to be a, so yeah, so it's about building the communications, building the meta story around this, and leading to collaboration and investment flows to hopefully many collaborations and many investment flows to many companies and others. The venture family that we're building being just one of many. So, and the app is there to support that as well as other things. But before I go more into the app, maybe let's do a round of reflections on the big coherence. Your thoughts about it or any key questions that you have. Sofia, I'll call people out just for speed.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello, nice to see you guys again. Yeah, I think I was interested in like seeing where the project is evolving to, but it definitely feels like in some of the slides you shared so far, it feels a bit more pointed than where it was last time you spoke, which I think is nice. But no immediate questions from me.
Cool. Ruben.
So I always thought that this conference would be kind of online distributed and so on, but now there's the idea of an event in person, I assume.
No, it's
no,
online.
it's online. It's online.
Always,
sorry.
always. Sorry,
It's
online and it's distributed. We will, depending on how big it evolves, I can imagine some people doing local stuff in it as well. But the focus is online distributed conversations feeding into collective intelligence through AI.
Okay, awesome. So so essentially, I'm imagining that we have essentially we go into breakout rooms and we each record or something like that, or is it even more distributed? Like we're just doing it. Like what is the kind of cohesion around it? Like why is it time based or something like that, and not just something that people are doing like all the time? Why is it an event? Maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Thank you. Yeah, because I have all of these assumptions that I come with that I forget are mine. So the different reason why I see coherence as being better as a event versus a platform, and to me, event is online or whatever, but it's got a beginning and an end and some kind of a timeliness, is that in my experience, it is much easier to build energy, engagement, participation for something that's an event. It's got a known beginning, a known end, right? Versus a platform which goes on forever, right? There's so many platforms. Platforms are so hard to launch. Also, platforms, new software, getting people to use new software, there's huge challenges around that. And there's a lot of people building a lot of platforms, but I don't see so many people innovating in event formats. There is some, but there is not much, and there's definitely not software built to innovate. So having a beginning and an end, just as a communications and a framing, I think is an easier way of doing it. Also, because we want to pull in all of the platform makers into conversation, right? Rather than saying, here's my platform, join my platform, saying, we're doing an event, come participate in an event, it's a very different framing for building engagement and participation. And then it gives us the, it's easier to say we do it, what is done is done. If we have energy to do it again, we do it again, right? You can always do an event again or in different ways, but you don't have to, and you're not a failure, right? If you decide not to do it again. Yeah. But thank you. That's a good question. I need to think of adding that to the idea space and talking about it. Lee.
Hey, Victor. Hi, everybody. So just some thoughts based on what I've heard so far is, so a couple of the communities that I'm in, there's a lot of talk about how COP has failed and how there needs to be something to replace it. And so something like this could potentially be that. And I would advocate for not interviewing Bill Gates. I'm not interested in what he wants to say. I'm interested in all the people on the ground. I think there's so many more important people who actually need their voices heard. So I think like a grassroots, grounded in like real regenerative practices would be the more valuable conversations. Those are my initial thoughts.
Finally, piss on my dream. Fine. But I think I hear what you're saying, and in terms of, I am not disagreeing with you, but the whole point of coherence is because it's many conversations. Different people can interview, and I'm sure you'll interview people that I don't find interesting, but that's okay, right? For me, I if it goes big, I would love to go through my list of who are the people that have been there. Something that also I'm conscious of is that a lot of the greats of the 20, I don't know how old he is, but he's not going to live forever. So, anyways, it was just a fun mental exercise, but it'd be interesting to think who. Sorry, Lee.
I didn't mean to piss on anything.
No, I know. I'm pulling your leg, but it's an important point that you raise, and I think that's where coherence enabling many people, hundreds, maybe thousands of conversations, right? And a lot of those conversations will be ones I'm not interested in or you're not interested in, but those people are interested in it, and then the AI can weave it together. That I think it highlights what the power is, right? That we don't, and that to me is the difference. It's not about creating alignment, the one belief structure, the like we all have to believe in this. We have the many conversations which are woven into the meta conversation, the meta story which emerges like the forest. You know, my key driver or in my thinking is how can we function like the forest, right? Where there is no centralized tree or the jaguar going around telling the ants and everybody what to do, right? And yet the forest makes weather, it affects, makes its own rain and all of this, right? So coherence is a way of how can we use systems to create that kind of an effect where something greater emerges from a huge number of conversations that are not planned. I mean, there is themes and all of this. So
I'd be interested to understand how you plan on collating that all in a way that's not overwhelming. You know, there are these
I have a magic wand. It's called AI.
Yes, of course, but still, it has to be digested in a way that, like, I to understand your vision of like, is there an interface that you can then go and drill down into topics? Like, how do you consume all of that thousands of conversations of information?
So that's where my hope is, and we're in the process now of can we find the AI partners? Hi, Gab. Can we find AI partners that are experts on this? Because there is organizations that are working really hard on this. And this is a big question for Coherence app is, do we have to develop this ourselves or can we partner and ideally partner with multiple organizations that are building these interfaces for doing this thing? So my hope, and we'll see how it turns out, that Coherence can focus on being the coordination, the ingestion, the publishing engine for all of these conversations. And the intelligence stuff is done by the people that are building AI-based collective intelligence platforms. That's kind of my hypothesis. And actually, maybe now we can go around and go to Guru, because probably he's thought a lot about this. Am I crazy? Are we going to have to build the AI ourselves, or are there people out there we can partner with?
Yeah, I think I think there are multiple people working on this. And I don't think it's a new problem per se. It's been, if you understand how social media networks work, let's say LinkedIn or Twitter or any of these. It's yeah, what they're essentially trying to do is connect people. So it's like they might trying to give you the recommendation that would probably you're looking for already. So yeah, if you like bring that to this scale where we're just restricting this to people working in the regeneration ecosystem, then I think it becomes much easier to do these things. So I would say, yeah, I don't think it's a new problem, and it's not very hard also, from like how I understand it. So yeah, it's good that we have this intention of creating content, and then yeah, pre-production, during, and then post, and like tying all of those things together to the needs and wants of people who are interested in working together or doing something that's greater than the sum of our parts. So yeah, it's really nice and encouraging that they're thinking in this direction.
Cool. And do you have any other thoughts, reflections on the big event?
The big event, yeah, I think as a start, uh, yeah, having this restricted time period, I don't know, like as a MVP, maybe it makes sense, but I would imagine this to be an ongoing thing, like how Ruben said. Yeah, if we have an app and like the infrastructure set up for this to happen continuously, yeah, I think that would be really good.
Interesting. I mean, that will depend a lot on the business case. Uh, Christine, your thoughts, reflections on the big coherence.
Yeah, I was just having a few thoughts then. Basically, like wondering what human elements will come to the fore during the bigger coherence. I'm not sure. Like at the moment, the MVP is based on our projects and like these practical things that we're working on. But it seems like you talked about applying it in different events, different settings where people might have a purpose and then they can gather around that. So what is there a purpose for the bigger event?
Yeah, so I mean, it's around bringing to the forefront this conversation about how do we steward and shepherd the development of technology, right? That to really create a widespread awareness. I mean, it's coming, but that actually technology is shaping fundamentally our society. Social media is already, I think it's scientifically recognized, has shaped, everything from suicide rates to democracy. And AI will do so much, much more powerfully. And the Web3 collaboration technologies have the potential to do so as well, if and when we can figure out how to get them out into the mainstream. So it's this thesis and understanding that digital technology is shaping the evolution of human society fundamentally going forward. And how do we want to, which direction do we want to take it in? And how do we apply those things that we've learned from regeneration, turquoise, and all of those other things about how to build better human systems and put it into the DNA of the technology?
I guess like my feeling on that is like that is the underlying desire. Is that the thing that's going to gravitate everyone together to talk about it? Like we're going to have, I feel like there will be a lot of conversations that sound the same if it's all about that one topic. I'm not sure if that will give like the breadth of like human experience that we could capture if it's all just about that one theme.
Guru.
Yeah, I don't know if it should be just about the one thing, because like you said, there's so much happening. And the way I would imagine is, can we, with the people who sign up to be a part of this, can we, without them putting extra efforts, yeah, can we track, what they're doing, updates on their projects through their social media, and like, are they looking for something, some collaboration or some resources, right? So if we can, tie this to that kind of like sense making where, yeah, we do this for the people automatically, and, nudge them in like directions which might be useful. Yeah, that would be wonderful. I'm not sure if that's in the scope as of now, but yeah, if we have to really go deeper, I would, yeah, like kind of lean in that direction as well. Like it should be, yeah, relatively easier now than before to do these kinds of things. So yeah, I guess it's about like having the goal, and yeah, uh, having this in mind while we plan the rest of the thing.
Victor, can I jump in and share, if possible, just to respond to Christine and tell you you're not crazy? For me, I think relational intelligence is the essence of coherence, how we relate to each other as human beings and interact with nature and the environment. The conversations in an event will be the same if that is the essence, but the opportunity to actually build the communication and the language system that is fed into the AI intentionally, right, to build a basis of knowledge outside of the scope of what is currently available is easy to train the AI. On a call the other day, I was blown away at how the AI actually had been trained for 2 years to summarize and output in the most exceptional way. For me, it's about the intention and the designers who are focusing on the point of the conversations, because there are so many conversations, and to monetize the actual golden moments purposefully, because to create content is one thing and to create an event is another thing. There's so many. But to create exceptional, curated, cutting edge information that is then fed into AI, what you're doing is you're creating an entire knowledge based system for people to plug into. And so it's more concrete for me in its planning and its strategy and its categorization. The event should teach coherence, and each touch point should be a experience, because relational intelligence is regeneration. And without that, we're speaking about business done out of contrast of the old. The end of my spiel and thought.
I think the key idea is, right, it's not just about generating contents and unique contents. It's about connecting for action.
Yes.
And building relationships, right? So
Yes.
creating a space, there is a way I've been describing is ecosystem scale build in public, right? And if there is 10 companies working on exactly the same thing, then they should know about it. And it's very important that we have these conversations so they can know about each other. So in that sense, it's different from a conference because it's not just about creating unique knowledge through a curated thing. It's about creating a forum where many people working on this space can participate. And the fundamental value is the collaborative conversations they're having in the first place. Oh, wow, a lot of people. I don't know who put up their hands first. Antonio?
Yes, I did. So, hello everybody. The thing to me and what I've been seeing and what I've been talking with Victor is definitely aligned in 3 A's. And they are awareness, alignment, and action. To me, the most important is the action, but the awareness and alignment are needed. So I see coherence as an enabler more than an end in itself. I see it as a road more than a destination. And so what I see is that my vision, and this is what I've been telling people, imagine that the planet is a total forest. And you know the place around you. You see who lives close to you. You know a few villages close by. And occasionally you take a longer trip. But you can't see everybody. And you need to work with as many people as possible in the fastest and most effective period of time so that things happen. If it's not action-oriented, we would be losing our time, wasting our time. So the first thing is, who is out there? Who am I aware that is out there? And this is something that I can see coherence being a serious enabler to make happen. As a result, when people who are out there see each other, they will start to understand that there is possibilities of alignment. Alignment in the sense of getting to action. So it's like, then there is the monthly market or the yearly feast that people come together and spend time for a week. I'm not saying this literally or in presence, but people start to think and see, oh, this is relevant for me, I am relevant for that. So this is the alignment phase. And the most important is, otherwise I feel that I will die at the beach, is make things happen. And to make things happen, aligned with Victor's vision, is if we are aiming at 1 billion, Victor knows what I'm talking about. We have a friend that says, I want to be able to impact the lady at the door of the mosque. And I had a conversation this weekend with somebody that said, if that cannot help me bringing something to and from the peasants in Costa Rica, then I'm not interested in what's going on in Europe or anywhere else in the world that is fancy and interesting, but doesn't solve people's day-to-day problems. So this is where I see that coherence can be a great thing. It's mostly an enabler for action, and that so that people can understand what can they do, with whom can they do, where can they do it, and the more we engage this awareness, alignment, action thing, and this is something that I personally have a project on, and Victor knows about that, I'm trying to run it together with coherence, the more we'll be able to make the shift that needs to be made in real time or in time that is in time. Otherwise, it's going to be a nice, long, collective funeral.
Thank you. I don't know, Joshua? Ruben? Sorry, I don't remember which order.
Yeah, the way I'm kind of seeing it, and I kind of want to bring it back to Christine's comment about it being a lot of the same as well. I do see that being a thing. At the same time, I'm seeing I'm looking at it as a smaller tech. That's that little piece of the equation being really needed, and the tools and technology conversations and collaborative technology is a huge space that people are gathering around. That's going to be a lot of the same conversation over and over, but we're going to be able to see a lot of the people that we can collaborate with, and that's going to be really great. We've talked about the doing these in different verticals. I looked at it as the permaculture flower, right, in the 9 realms, and we could do that. Would be the huge coherence for me. It's like we do all 9 realms, and we do bioregions as well. And you can go find your little place, and get really excited and be like, oh, I'm hearing a lot of the same stuff, but I want to hear all the same stuff because I'm with my people and I'm seeing how I can collaborate with one another, right? Someone else that comes into tools and technology and they're just like, you know what, there's a couple things that I want to take from this. That's like the second part of the coherence after you've recorded all the conversations. So you have like the live coherence, right? With all of the different people trying to talk to each other. There's going to be people that are like hanging on to everybody's word and trying to get to know every single person that's having a stop alarm. I need to take something out of the oven. There is that piece that I'm really excited about with the areas that I really want to focus in on. Tools and technology for me, I'd really like to be involved in a lot of the conversations. But land and nature stewardship stuff, like I really want to be in almost every of those conversations as well, because I want to see regenerative food supply. I want to see all those types of things going through the conversations and see those pieces. But I can dive into those. That's like the live part of the coherence of like seeing people going through. But then afterwards, AI is going to be able to give us these opportunities to see the cliff notes and all the things that I really wanted to see in all the other realms. That's kind of how I'm looking at this as a bigger picture of coherence as we start gathering a bunch of different conversations in different realms. And I'm not sure if, Victor, that's a vision that you have, but it's what I'm hoping for, and have brought it up a couple times with you as well. Check.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I have the first step, not the big vision, and I really love, and I hope we can develop together, Ruben.
Yeah, so when I'm, kind of considering what we're trying to do and really connecting, all these organizations that are kind of working on the same thing, I'm wondering if the resolution is, strong enough, deep enough, or whatever the term is, but a conversation here, conversation there about these deeper topics or the very specifics that these solutions are working on seems maybe not enough. I'm wondering if you want to have a way to actually go much deeper into what people are discussing on a more, let's say, day-to-day basis, to really be able to also respond more quickly to what's happening as you discover those that are doing something similar, but maybe not similar enough. But then one day, that does happen, and how long does it take until that's discovered?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think there is this tension between event versus platform, right? And I need to think about it more, but my attraction is to doing an event and to developing a new form of online format. And there's just naturally, you cannot be doing strategy every day, right? You need to go to execution. You need to have a breathe in, breathe out thing of strategy or partnerships or meeting new people versus deepening the relationships that you have. So there is for sure something that's valuable around the circular time that events bring into our life, into our work. But I'm not sure I'm doing a good enough job to explain it right now. I mean, I feel it very strongly, and I've experienced it through the festivals I've been to and the events that I've organized, but I need to be better at explaining it. Lee?
Two things have come up for me. The first is access. So I got my mind got blown today. I'm mentoring a local in my local neighborhood. It's called a township. It's like an informal settlement here in South Africa, and he's 29. He's wanting to start a business. I'm mentoring him. He's never heard of ChatGPT. Never even heard of it. So that's just a question to like, how do we make sure that as many people in the world get access to this information? And then the other thing is, I think one of the, sorry.
He has heard of YouTube and he probably knows TikTok, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I think there's an opportunity. One of the things from these conferences that exist in the world is people often walk away and go, what did I actually walk away with? How did that change me? What is like the practical thing that I can actually take and implement or do something with in my life? And so I feel like if we're gathering all this information, there could be almost like a learning journey of like, okay, there was a whole bunch of conversations about this thing. How do I learn that and take action and implement it in my life? So it like becomes almost like I had a podcast for a couple of years and it felt like I went to university because I got the opportunity to speak to lots of people and ask them any question about any topic, and it was an amazing learning experience. So we can provide that to everybody through something like this on different topics and make it tangible and actionable.
Yeah, the how do we go into action thing is really interesting. And there again, I really hope that Coherence can be an onboarding platform and can partner with collaboration platforms, of which lots of people are developing them, right? And based on a conversation or whatever, maybe there is some rounds like, oh, you three should go deeper together, or maybe you can collaborate, and here's a platform and such that, you know, would invite you and could be a good thing for you to use. There is also, you know, I've been in this business for 30 years, and I've really come to appreciate how bloody hard it is to get people into new collaboration platforms and softwares. And I'm really living on 10, 15 years of huge hopes followed by great disappointments of all of these new forms of collaboration platforms. And I would include the whole Web3 ecosystem into that, because it hasn't gone out into the mainstream world, right? And that makes me really think of how do we get those first step, half a step, quarter step of people moving forward to new ways of collaboration. And to me, for me, events and conversations are the easiest things that we can get people into. Everybody understands conversation that can speak. So that's why my hope is that like Coherence can be the gateway drug of getting people into, and if we can, we can create the on-ramp into these collaboration structures afterwards. We really need that, but then Coherence should just be your first dose, the free one. Alex.
So maybe what came to me is that perhaps we could have a framework and a tool, and exactly like you are running the gatherings, people could step up and say, okay, I want to run an event for cohering on conscious collaboration, but somebody could step up and say, hey, I want to run Coherence on future of farming, whatever, right? And in this way, these events are promoted. We give them playbooks and tools and everything, right? But we are not running them by themselves. So this is what came to me.
Exactly. And is it okay if I go to the app now, Antonio, and then you talk? Because I'm conscious.
Sure. It was just a comment on what Lee and Alex just said, which I totally agree, but I'd like to add something. So let's go.
Because Alex already got us into talking about the app. So I see exactly many different uses for this kind of format of engagement. There is the standalone coherences, which we've discussed one version of, but exactly like you said, every leaf of the flower, like Joshua wants to do, I don't know, somebody wants to do a local coherence around, I don't know, reducing pollution in Lahore. Great. You know, you can use this format and bring people into conversation. It's a new format for doing online events, which is supported by the Coherence app. Another key use that I am very excited about is for using Coherence to bring pre and post online engagement for in-person events. Because everybody that runs online events, bigger ones, realizes that we should be doing something to bring people together online, but nobody's got a good way of doing it. You know, the best people manage is like, oh yes, I will do a webinar and people will have some breakout rooms. It's not great. So doing a coherence where you have everybody coming to an event, having some conversations with other people who are coming, and these are posted and shared and so on and so forth, it's amazing for a physical event because you have this whole stream of conversation about your event. People get to go deeper before the event. I think it's going to be amazing for pre-engagement. And then maybe also for post-engagement and leading into collaboration. And then the third one, which is actually where I think quite likely the money is going to be, is the AIification of companies or any collaborative field. It could be an ecosystem, etc. As we move to get companies to be AI enabled with AIs and humans collaborating together, we're going to face the problem of most of what's important about an organization lives in people's heads. How do you download an organization from people's wetware into the AI? Right? It's not the rules, regulations. I mean, those are useful, but they're a very small part of what actually happens day to day in an organization. And I think coherence can be the easiest way to AI collective intelligence. So this idea of coherence, AI and humans wiser together. And with the functionality of being the conversations, matching for conversations, connection to multiple AI, posting, maybe connection and onboarding people onto collaboration platforms based and as a result of the conversation. So this would be the app startup. And yeah, we have 15 minutes. Let's just popcorn style. Who has thoughts, reflections, questions?
Okay, what I wanted to say is to a part of what Lee just said, I already told Victor that I see this, I smell something here that may become somewhat a post-podcast, an ability to travel and to navigate a jungle. I don't know what podcasts to listen anymore because there seems to be so good and so many of them that I'm lost. And so this may have a role to play in the post-podcast stuff that can enable something in that arena. And to what Alex and then Victor said, actually, it's great that you spoke before. Alex, I couldn't be more in line with you in one of the lines of possibility of coherence that I see, which is the way that Victor is doing now with gathering. Now people pick up the ball, they run with the ball. This is what I see that coherence may be enabling people to do, and running different things. And for people like me and a lot of others that are extremely interested in many topics and getting to know more and wanting to do things in more than one area, this can be just, you know, Disney World, or maybe a better expression for a kind of Fantasyland. What Victor says about the companies, I agree, but because my background is totally on that, what I see as difficulty is, yes, we have the tool to enable the ultimate amount of conversations inside the company, and there is a big but. If we are talking about the go-to-market to new projects and new products, people will feel kind of safe or even invited to show their ideas and to see if they could get some sort of recognition. And that's I can see that work. When it comes to say, hey, how shit is this company and what could we be doing about this, which is the case of 90+% of companies, people will feel afraid of speak up about what they feel and see that is the radio carpet, you know, that it's what really needs to happen so that the company truly would change. That needs some extra bit of trust building that I don't believe or haven't seen being done, that is doable in the not face-to-face channel. That needs to be something done together with in presence, bringing people to a level of trust in the process that then they would have a conversation without being fearful of being fired or adjudicated somehow. But nevertheless, the dual sense of things and the ability to work with companies with it, I think that it's a great opportunity if we manage to grasp it, overcoming these waves that I think that it's the biggest difficulty if it's about cultural change, not if it's about going to market and new products.
Great. Ruben.
Yeah, so I wanted to highlight that what Antonio is discussing, and just as the general sort of thing as well, that what we're doing, and many of you don't know, but Victor and Alex do know what we're building with First Now around digital sovereignty could very well be that trust architecture that we need to enable that trust in online world, where people are able to share because they know that it won't go beyond their trust network and they can control that. In addition, when I think about making things actionable, really kind of being able to match people's needs and gifts with each other through those conversations, as well as getting certain projects maybe the funding they need, but of course there's many other things that people need, is something that I see as a potential great functionality as well. That it's not just, hey, we know what's out there, but it's also really making those things actionable in very specific ways. I don't know if that's already part of the plan, but that's something that that came up. Also, I have to leave because I have an urgent other call that has come up. So I'll thank everyone.
Thanks, Ruben. And just to connect with, my hope is that all of that stuff you're going to solve, and we can just focus on getting people a good conversation experience. So I'm very much counting on you and other tool builders to build out that part of the infrastructure.
Awesome. Great. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Cool. Sofia, haven't heard from you in a moment.
Yeah, just kind of listening and taking it all in, where things are evolving to. I really liked what Gab was saying earlier. I think I kind of align in terms of like, how is it being used as a kind of tool that can be applied elsewhere as well? And like thinking about how you go beyond just kind of sharing that knowledge, but actually kind of creating a more relational feel.
Yeah. Cool. Anybody else? Yeah, Christine.
I guess, yeah, I did have a feeling when Gab was saying that too about Sigmergy. I know that's a bit of a buzzword, but it's like the actions of people inside the coherence. Like if there's 30,000 people, like the choices they're making and just the actions of connecting will have some sort of ripple effect. So that's not inconsiderable as part of the experience.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I do hope, and that I imagine is that whatever we imagine now is the start of the journey. We'll do this, we'll run it, and then we will learn and start evolving. Because yeah, I fundamentally believe that we've just barely started to lick the surface of the possibility of how we can convene together digitally. We're mostly repeating the same old things. If anything, games are a bit more advanced, but there's a million and one ways. Like there's nobody that I've seen that is doing tools for facilitated walking people through workshops. I did 3-4 years ago a prototype for a circles thing. It's there. I haven't seen anybody doing this. So we need to start experimenting and move beyond just repeating the same old things we did in person, because there will be lots of different possibilities. And now with AI interwoven into all of this, I think it's finally going to get interesting. Cool.
Probably also like one thing is that like might take someone 5 years to master like a certain framework or methodology, whereas like theoretically we could load up 1,000 frameworks into an AI and ask it to do something with that, and we don't know what that is. So just the speed of like cognition and creativity could be really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I've been 10 years, I've been hoping and waiting for a team AI that And I'm not claiming it's going to be better than a live human coach, but it's much more scalable. And a good high quality live human coach costs a couple hundred an hour. If I can give 70% even of that benefit for $10 an hour through an app to a team, that's an incredible scaling level. And similarly at ecosystem level for collaboration and all of this stuff, I have a strong sense that the things that we dream of in terms of collaboration and regenerative ecosystems of collaboration is just not achievable without AI and other tech support and backing. Just because seeing things at ecosystem scale in this way is beyond the scope of a single human brain. But we got to give the AI meaningful information, and we got to teach it to look at the world the way we want to look at the world. And I think this conversation is going to be a key part of it.
I think there's also something about looking at like the user journey as well, about how people are moving through the space. Like even if it is still more decentralized manner, it's like how are you iterating the kind of AI patterning with the movement flows even within that experience. So it's you're not just like turning up, having a conversation, and then that's the end of the thing, but it's like, you know, what is your intentionality? AI process that, you go into a different space, you recognize the patterns, it moves you into different space. So kind of organically moving through things as they're evolving live as well, I think could be interesting so that you're actually going deeper than just sharing that knowledge.
There was an interesting, we started having some interesting conversation yesterday in the attribution piece of this, and how the attribution, I think, actually informs some really cool dynamics of the AI, where we could see over time. And Christine, I would love for you to add to this, because I'm forgetting some of the stuff that we were talking about, and Guru as well. What we were seeing, like, how can we attribute back and see who started this idea, talk to that person, have them, you know, reiterate back on the fact that, oh, I've updated my understanding based upon, you know, what everybody else is saying within the conversation, and we can actually see progression, but also we can see each other's progression over time and attribute the group's thought process throughout it. And so attribution could be it's a hairy place in this, but it's also a really great opportunity for us to actually like dive in and understand and see, you know, this is held in a creative, it's held in the common space. How do we protect that for everyone, as well as, yeah, you know, there is a tragedy of the commons in almost every case if we don't protect the commons. And this is, we're putting a lot of information into the commons. We want to make sure that we're protecting it as well. And so I brought that up for multiple reasons, but there was some really interesting and fun conversations that we had in the attribution conversation yesterday. Check.
Beautiful. Well, if nobody has other closing thoughts, anybody have closing thoughts? Lee.
I just wanted to add to what Joshua was saying there, like the idea of attribution just made me think of like once there's a stream of thought happening on something, it'd be great if someone could add to it after the fact. So like say someone is an expert, they can come in and go, hang on, actually I know a lot about this and I've got all this material to then upload additional. So the material is not just based on the event, it can be constant, it's like a Wikipedia almost, like to constantly grow and evolve.
I really like, yeah. I think like this layers upon layers. I'm far from an expert, so I hope I'm not messing it up. But if I understand it correctly, some of the Hebrew knowledge, they have the Torah, a wise man annotations on the Torah. Next wise man's few hundred years later annotations on that, and then you write annotations on the annotations of the annotations, right? This kind of an idea. Google actually, early days of the internet, had a tool for that multi-level knowledge. But yeah, this idea of having a conversation about somebody else's conversation is very, very interesting. I think, yeah, let's open this Pandora's box and let's see where she takes us. Thank you.
In the world of media, I think they do that quite a bit already with, you know, political conversations and whatnot. We're talking about people's conversations all the time. But if we can do this in a better way with AI, I think it definitely helps us to weed out all the noise.
Nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful people, it's been fantastic again to be here, but I really have to go now. Have a great time.
I check out your level of sentiment on this tagline. Coherent, AI and
Great one.
advisor together.
Great one to me. Great one.
Thumbs up, thumbs to the middle. Let's see some thumbs. Ali to the side. Joshua.
Thumbs to the moon.
I can't see your thumb, Sofia. Where did your thumb go? Thumbs up. Cool, nice. Great. Thank you all very much.
Thanks all.
Ciao. Ciao.
An article on the chat about the topic. I was searching for it. That was brought by many of you towards. Maybe you want to take a look. It's by Chaining symbiosis.
And Lee, if I manage to get to talk to Bill Gates, I'll show you. I'll have a good conversation with him.
As long as you ask him the difficult questions.
But that's the whole point, right? I just don't want to talk to him about, like, the man has had how many books written about him, and he must have had tens of thousands of interviews. So that would be the question, how to ask him actual questions, which would be generative. But yeah, I have this one friend. He's actually quite accomplished in the genetic engineering field. And one year he was just like, Isaac Asimov is my hero. And he messaged Isaac Asimov and said, like, this is kind of things I do. Could we have tea? And Isaac Asimov said, well, this is the Thai island that I'm living on. Come by, we'll have tea. So he got on a plane and then he had tea with Isaac Asimov. And it sounds crazy on the one hand. On the other hand, the guy is dead now. And that's a memory that will stay longer than any car, house, possession, or whatever that you could have spent that money on. And it's just kind of left me with this thought, right, of who is the great that I would just jump on an airplane, borrow money, whatever, to make happen to go see them. It's an interesting inquiry.
It is. I also love Isaac Asimov, actually.
Yeah, well, he is gone. This is also what I'm conscious is there is more and more of the greats of the 20th century that are leaving us, right? So let's grab them for conversation before they go. All right.
The question is how great this person actually is, right? And do we want to promote them? This is, yeah.
That's exactly my issue with Bill Gates. Like he's great in some areas, but I think I don't know, it's my personal view. Like I don't.
I mean, he certainly, I don't know. I mean, he's tried to do good. You know, we have this saying in Polish, I tried to do well, it turned out as always.
So you're also Polish?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think some of his do-gooderism falls into that category.
Very much so. Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, all right. Thank you. Thanks so much for coming by.
Do you want a quick note on your tagline as to why I was like this and not a thumbs up? Just a feedback.
Please. I mean, I just came up with it in the spur of the moment, the last meeting, so I'm completely not attached to it.
So for me, the what's not like striking a chord is it's about making humans better, not AI better. So it's like humans empowering AI, not AI and humans being better together. Do you know what I mean? Like that. Like I think there's that. So it's like, although actually, like thinking about it, AI will get wiser by getting more information from humans. So yeah. I think
if humans and AI wiser together, does that make a difference, or that wasn't? If you look at it this way, doesn't it put us at an equal level of collaboration?
I think it's better with humans first. Like we should be I think that should be a thing, as human first. I think like
Sure.
I think that's going to be more and more of a thing, as humanity first and human first, with AI just being so prolific. And how do we preserve our humanity with all of this?
Actually, I disagree with you, because I think it's not about preserving our humanity. All technologies like this force us to discover and understand our humanity better. So I think we should become more human and better humans,
Agreed.
not just preserve.
Yes.
Because there's
Yes.
lots of stuff people are like, oh, trucker jobs are going. And I'm like, driving trucks on the highway back and forth? Is that really what humanity needs to be about? I don't know. I mean, maybe. Well, we lost a lot of jobs digging in the fields, and we've kind of gotten over that. Maybe backbreaking physical labor, digging ditches in the fields is not what we need to be about. So it's for sure, it's forcing an inquiry. But my hope, and that's why my dream in all of this, is to shepherd the technology in such a way that it lets us be a better version of ourselves. Yeah.
I mean, that could be the tagline: a better version of ourselves together, or something like. Anyway, good to see you again.
All right. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
guys.